Good morning and welcome into the Pats Nation. I'm Corso. Catone's here. Joe's with us in the booth. You are watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, anywhere you podcast. You're going to catch us. And make sure you give us a call and heated hotline 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. Hey, that number's good for Corso and Catone, too. The Real Deal New England Feel, Saturdays at noon. So make sure. And you can email us in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. 29-13, the Patriots dropped Super Bowl 60 to the Seattle Seahawks. We talked a lot about that, of course, with Catone yesterday. Today, we're going to go into Drake Mania, talk a little bit about May, some of what happened last week, but we want to talk about what's it look like moving forward. And that's what we're going to do in Pat's preview as well. What's this team going to look like moving forward as we start the offseason, Coach's Corner, and won't be a Sunday spread. But good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. And by the way, this is going to be our last Pats Nation for a bit. This season's coming to a close, but there will be some special episodes coming up.
Yes.
Make sure you tune in into our YouTube channel to get that information, and also Corso and Catone on Saturdays. We'll have all those announcements for our free agency show for the Pats Nation, our draft show we're going to have, and then we're going to start up with training camp. So, hi, guys.
Hey. I don't believe it's our last show of Pats Nation for a while.
It's been a good year, guys. It's been a real good year.
We went longer than we've gone in a long time.
Ever on this show.
On this show, yeah, ever. This was it. Because we started doing this after that last
when they sucked.
When they sucked, we started doing it.
Right. So, but listen, hey, they lose this Super Bowl. They drop it 29-13. And believe me, I think that score is a little closer than the actual game really was, as we discussed yesterday. But I think before we get into Drake Mania.
Again, Witherspoon to the quarterback. Right up the middle. A sack for Seattle. Steps up, he's pressure. Drake Man's tackled with the defender, engaged from the blocker. He steps up, he's in trouble. He's hit. The ball's loose. And the Seahawks recover. They think him. Under pressure. Throws it right. Turner's wide open. Touchdown Seattle. He got back. Steps up. Throws it down the middle. Pass is going to be intercepted inside the field. They drop back. The blitz coming. He's thrown. And the ball's not loose.
God damn it.
15 down. He's chased by Morgan Moses. Who won't catch him? This is a good score. The Seattle Seahawks celebrate a 29-13 victory over the Patriots.
I reminded them that we're 307 days into what hopefully is a long, successful relationship, and that it's okay to be disappointed. We have to be disappointed and upset together. Grateful that I get to coach them. Part of our identity is not being a front runner. Every year somebody's going to lose this game, and we have to remember what it feels like and make sure that it's not repeated.
That's what fuels you, and I think that's the biggest thing about life. You're going to have times like this, and that's how you bounce back. And I think, all those guys in that locker room are going to use this as fuel, and I think go to war with those guys anytime, any day, anywhere. Motivation to get back here and not have this feeling and have what they're feeling out there.
That was a little compilation of the day that it was. So before we get into Drake Mania, Jesus. Why don't you give a couple of thoughts, Mark? Not just to the Super Bowl, to the season, but to the season.
All right. Well, obviously it was a good, obviously it was a good season. We way overperformed what I think anybody thought, even those people who said, you could win 9-10 games with that schedule, maybe. And okay, maybe, but to think that you'd be in a Super Bowl after coming off of the season we had last year. And when you really looked at the talent on this team, I certainly didn't see it. You didn't see it, Chris. It was a successful season by any stretch of the imagination. Listen, but when you get there, you want to win the damn thing, right? It doesn't, we had a good year. We're ahead of schedule in the rebuild. I don't want to hear that bullshit. No, you're there. Win the goddamn game, right? But listen, it's a rebuild, and we know it's a rebuild. And everyone said it. It's going to be, this is going to be a multi-year rebuild. That's all we kept hearing when Vrabel was hired. This is going to be a multi-year rebuild. And it technically still is a multi-year rebuild. This is not the team that he wants to put on the field to compete for championships. But They made it. And you know, and I think that's why you mentioned yesterday, Chris. This became such a team that was built on culture because it's a team that's lacking talent. You knew
You had to build it on something.
right? You said it all year, Chris. Flawed team. It's flawed. We can't fix these things this year. We just don't have the talent to fix it. But you made it to the Super Bowl, damn it. So was it a good year? Yes. Am I pissed off and disappointed we didn't win it? Of course I am. We got there. But you said all the signs were there. That we just didn't want to open the door and look as to what was going to happen in that game. But we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah. Joe, what do you think? We got a couple of thoughts on the season.
Well, I mean, just on the whole season, there's a lot of good I saw in the season just to be the hopeful voice of the show as far as like what we saw in certain talents. I don't think were used properly. People like Diggs, things like that, where they were solid players. Drake May, some of the defense, but like collectively, I think it looks good. I don't think we're 1-0. I think if we just get the wide receiver, the number one, and we get a corner guy in defense to come in and start getting some real pressure and getting some
an edge guy,
edge guy, we have a solid chance to kind of repeat, if not next 2 years.
I just got a message from Paul from Providence. He said, "Go Big Blue." He said, "Go Big Blue." This jerk.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm you know what I'm feeling? Honestly, I'm feeling pride. I'm proud right now. I'm proud of this team. I'm proud of this organization. I'm proud of the way they bounce back. I'm proud of Kraft for making the move he did with getting rid of Mayo and bringing Vrabel in. And I am. I got a lot of pride wearing this shirt, and I got a lot of pride again. That's the general feeling that I have. Yeah, I'm disappointed too, just like you guys, and I was in that game, but now I've had a little time to reflect, and I don't think Vrabel will allow this situation to stand pat or feel like they've arrived at anything. And we're going to get to that later in the show where we hear a sound of him saying such. And so from a fan perspective and this kind of perspective, you know why, Mark? Because we know what we're looking at. I know what I'm looking at when I'm looking at these things. And they're right. There was a door I chose not to look in when I looked at this Super Bowl and was breaking this down. I chose to ignore that door and not look at the obvious to me because you will feel good about this situation. But no, I'm proud. I'm proud of the Patriots. I'm proud to be a Patriots fan. I'm proud to be a season ticket holder. And I'm going to take my proud ass, and we're going to get into Drake May now and talk a little Drake Mania. When Joe is ready, we're going to do it now.
That's what I'm talking about.
I shot it up, so not much feeling. It was good to go and felt all right.
Did you feel like your shoulder limited you in this playoff run?
Light to
It'd
us.
be hard to say that. I was feeling good enough to be out there. If I'm out there, I wouldn't put the team in, harm's way to not be, myself, and just didn't make plays tonight.
Proud.
That's probably the reason I'm choked up most. This team is something that just glad to be part of. I think the people will make the plays, and we got great people all around that help us, support staff and great fan base. I'm just glad to have this uniform on and look forward to getting back and playing another one. It's a business at this level, but it's more than that. It's more than that. In a game like this, and I think that's about it. It's more than a business. There's people in there that are doing it, not for the money or the fame, and that's what's cool about this team. You got to play your best, and those plays that can change the game matter. And if you make them, you're celebrating. If you're not, you're sitting here, crying at a podium. So that's part of it. And I know the postseason is what you play for, and I know we'll have we'll be back in the postseason, and that's what you play the game for.
I would take the field with that kid any day of the week.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I take that kid over anybody, and I don't care who it is right now.
I was thinking about this
Oh,
after the game.
give me the field and Drake May. I'll take May. I don't care. I don't care if it's Mahomes. I don't care who it is. Josh Allen. I don't care. I
Look,
want
those
May.
are the only two people that I thought of that, like, if you were to say, hey, let's get someone, who would it be? Anywhere.
Oh, I want this kid.
I'll
Mark.
stick with him.
I want this kid on this team.
Let me ask you this, Chris. So on a couple of shows this week, they
And
talked
I
about-
like Josh Allen. I mean, I think he's another quality individual too. He is. But go ahead.
on a couple of shows this week, Chris, they talked about the performance over the last 4 games where
Yeah.
he struggled mightily in the playoffs.
Yep.
And they said if you make it next year to the playoffs and he has another bad performance, is he Justin Herbert? He can't perform in the playoffs. He's a regular season quarterback.
Yeah, he did perform in the playoffs enough, though. Like he did.
Yeah.
No, I
mean,
don't agree. with that.
and I don't agree with that. I don't agree by no means.
No, he's
with
already
that.
surpassed.
But
He's
that's
already
what
surpassed
that was
Herbert.
that was brought up this week by a couple of people, and I'm like, but he went to the goddamn Super Bowl. What are you talking about?
He threw 3 touchdowns against the number one. I'm
best
going to say it, the
defense,
number
yeah.
1 defense in football. Okay, because I still think Houston is.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything exotic Seattle did on Sunday. They just were good. They were just good at it, and we were very not good at what we needed to be.
Yeah.
Teams that were in two different planes.
So let's discredit.
So
that.
so yeah, no. He listen. He's already surpassed that in my book. I'm not. I'll tell you this right now. If you had Drake May, Gooden Johnston, and you had Lad McConkey and even Keenan Allen, you had those guys with that tight end they got there too.
Oh,
yeah. I'm thinking he wins the MVP, and it's probably a different outcome in the Super Bowl. Okay, if that happens. So I'm no Justin Herbert. No, that's an insult. I'll take Drake May now, but there's a lot he needs to do. One of the things that, and maybe it's just the experience, and we saw it all season long. Too many things speed him up. Now, is that just the age? Is that just being 23? Or is that a combination of that plus talent on, what they got on with talent on this team? And
I think it's a combination of both, Chris. And you're also going to, the third thing you're not even mentioning, Chris, is this kid has not played in the last 2 years, but even in North Carolina, this kid has not played that many games as a starting quarterback, Chris, in the last 3.5, 4 years.
yeah, I think in the last 2 years he played 18 games?
18 games, and in North Carolina, I think his senior year, he 10 or 11 games. Like, he hasn't really played.
Like his senior year or whatever, this last year, North Carolina, and then last year, his rookie year, I think combined played 18 games total.
That's what I'm saying. So
20.
he's young. He's got more seasoning, more experience to get, Chris. He's right at the beginning of this journey. Okay.
This was invaluable.
Yes.
Let me ask you guys this. He's only got 2 performances, in my perspective, that allow us to really evaluate what he's got going on as far as like whether it was shoulder, whatnot, because we all saw the play, but that was the 3rd game, right? In the playoffs.
That was
but
Denver, yeah.
But like, if you take those 2 games aside from that, the only window I see is Campbell coming back. So when Campbell was out up until week 17,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That whole window, I think Drake May had a chance to kind of like flourish and show what he's got, play a couple of teams in the mix to show that he's the guy. We all know that he's the guy, but with Campbell coming back, I feel like that rushing of what you guys are talking about, his speed up, showed up when Campbell. You guys think that or no?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you're sacked 21 times in the playoffs,
Jesus Christ.
But with him out, did you see him speed up his game at all?
He always starts games that way. He's had a problem all season long with starting like that, starting a game sped up. Just oh my god, they've been asking him all season long.
So Chris, he brings up the shot at the beginning, which we haven't gotten into yet. So two things. All I could think of when he said that is, oh my God, could you imagine what Belichick would do if a guy said that on the podium? Chris.
Mark, they clearly lied to us about the whole.
Yes, they lied. Of course they did.
I mean, Vrabel, because of what Vrabel said. I mean, at one point, Vrabel saying when asked, was he hurt in the Denver game? No, nobody was hurt. Then he comes back out later and is like, well, the injury. There were such contradictions, and I think he got himself in trouble.
Did the injury? Well, I mean, because he's telling you he took a shot, so something wasn't right.
Yeah, you don't take a shot if you feel good.
Did that affect him at all? And I know you brought up yesterday on the show on Corso Gatone one play in particular where you said, yeah, Mark, it had to affect him a little bit. And I don't know if you want to get into that today or not, but do you think it affected him?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I thought that corner route was open. That Williams was running that deep corner route. That play with 8 minutes left, they were on the 45-yard line. They didn't have to take a shot. It was 2nd and 3. And now it was a 19-7 game. You go down and score there. It's a 5-point game. Hey,
you never know. You never know.
Go. But Williams was coming open in that corner, and his eyes were looking to that corner, to his right. And that ball came out center. And when you go and look at the end zone shot of that, in the coaching film, or if you can get a hold of it, you see where his eyes are looking, and you see where he threw that ball. Maybe the numbness that he felt from that shot. No, do I think the injury affected him? No. Do I think the shot affected him? Maybe. Psychologically, for sure. And that's one thing he's going to have to, moving forward, he's going to have to get himself out of. He's going to have to grow up. That's it. He's going to have to grow up now. And all these experiences, I mean, this Super Bowl experience, that's invaluable. Because that's it. You never have to, you saw it now. You felt it. You saw it. You understand it. Now you got to get stronger, though. He's got to get stronger, Mark. He's got to get in that.
Well, now he's going to get into the gym, and he's going to spend an off season in the weight room. Yeah, he's going to get stronger. You're right.
So I'm not worried about Drake May. I'm not worried about how he's going to be moving forward. I'm not worried about him being a statistic. I'll put him more on the 37 quarterbacks that started a Super Bowl, lost, and only 7 of them came back. I'll put him in that 7 camp before I put him in the 30 camp.
Well, look at Jalen Hurts. Hurts came back and won the damn thing.
Right. Yeah. And why did he come back and win it? And that's what we're going to talk about next. Okay. When we come back. But Drake Mania was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England Field, Saturdays, noon Eastern. Hey, make sure you tune in next week. Going to talk more Patriots offseason, B's and C's. Mark's going to give us an MLB preview as training camp opens and so much more. When we come back, going to go Pat's preview, and we're going to talk about some of the things Drake May needs around him. All that and more. No flip.
Needs a tackle.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more Corso and Catone.
Saturdays at noon.
Back in with more Pats Nation. All right, so let's talk about Drake May a little bit. Let's talk about the offense and some of the things we need to see happen with this team moving into the offseason. We're going to do it in Pat's preview, and we're going to do it right now.
Pat's preview.
About the other night not being available to talk. Just had a lot of emotions. Obviously going after tough loss, long year.
You got pushed around like
just
a
a lot
rag
of
doll.
emotions come with that. I just wanted to make sure that I had my head on properly
They
before I
want to hear
said
what
anything.
make sure you didn't tell anybody to go
I
after
didn't want to say
themselves.
anything that I didn't need to say.
Like
It
I
comes
would
with
have
the
done.
job when you don't perform. Obviously, I was picked high, paid a lot, so people expect a certain thing, and I expect more myself. So whenever I don't perform, I don't expect, everyone to be like, it's okay, buddy. Obviously it sucks, but it doesn't suck for anyone more than it sucks for me.
When you sign up to play left tackle, you sign up to play corner, you sign up to play quarterback, you sign up to be the head coach. You get judged, you get scrutinized. Will's 22 years old. He's our left tackle. He'll get better and get stronger. Moments where he played well, moments where he blocked the guy. There's plays he'd like to have back. We're not moving Will to guard or to center or to tight end or anywhere else.
Okay, so that was Campbell and listen, Mark, the kid's 22 years old. Look, people would, it's a bad
I'm going
look.
to say
It's
something
look
to you,
the
Chris,
media.
but the kid's got the right mentality. I think mental mentality. He's pissed at himself. Knows he didn't play well.
Yeah. Yeah, because, he was inconsolable. Now, there were a couple of times this season he's been inconsolable. One when he got hurt and the other time this time.
Do you understand, Chris?
That's good.
Yes, but this goes to how young they are. Him
Yes.
and May are babies.
Yeah, there's a lot of growing up to do.
Yeah.
There was a little too much of the Vrabel trying to pick them up on the sidelines throughout that game. Morgan Moses, which showed the immaturity. And I don't think that's being talked about enough, is the immaturity of a lot of these. Look, it's never happened. At the Super Bowl, no team has ever started the Super Bowl with two rookies on the left side of the line of scrimmage like that. Like two rookies on the line on the offensive line, I mean. So, I'm not giving him a pass, but I'm saying that at 22 years old, I thought it was a mature move to say, I can't talk to the media right now. I can't. Because I'm going to tell everybody to go F themselves right now. I'm gonna cry my brains out. I can't look like that on TV. I can't do it. Okay, take a couple of days then. I'm
now,
all right.
Chris, he's another guy.
As long as he did it, which he did.
Do you think the ligament injury? It says he had a torn ligament. You think that had to affect him a little bit?
Well, an MCL strain is a torn ligament.
It's a torn ligament, right?
To a degree. Yeah, did it affect him? What I don't like is hearing the whole, it wasn't 100%. It wasn't, because it starts to make it sound like it's excuses. Look, he was medically cleared to play.
Yeah.
And now maybe, was there a psychological component to it that, that he thought it wasn't quite right? Mark, I rewatched it. Okay. As did you. I'll ask you then. Do you think that it was a ligament issue, or do you think this was a fundamental,
Yeah, he's got a lot of Chris, technique wise.
His sets he was setting up in front of Drake May.
Yeah, his technique, Chris, needs a lot of work. You could get away maybe with some of what he did against. Now this will get to
the competition wasn't as
good. This gets into the schedule a little bit.
And it's legit. People can bring it up because it's there. It's.
I think as he played better opponents the last 4 or 5 weeks, he struggled greatly. The kid, they were just, there was one play, Chris, in the Super Bowl. He just bull rushed him. He ended up on his back. He just pushed him over.
Yeah.
Like, that can't happen to your left tackle, Chris. It can't.
Well, it's happening because of how he's setting up. He's skipping back and setting up in, like you said yesterday on the show, tackles create a width of the pocket.
Chris, your tackle's going to go east to west. He's going north and south.
Right. And he's not challenging guys at the line of scrimmage.
No.
That's the other thing he's not doing. He's retreating on every single drop.
Yes.
And you can't do that. Look at when you're in it, when the quarterback's in a 3-step drop, you have to be confident enough in your abilities and your technique where you could challenge that pass rusher at the line of scrimmage. So it's in 3-step. You got to be able to do that. He has not been able to do it. He ends up perpendicular a lot instead of parallel. Those are
used to call that the junction point, right? That's
Yeah.
what Scott Eckler used to call it, right? What you just described. And because everyone talked about his arms, he doesn't have the arms to play tackle. He's got the short arms. That's fine. But because that's his build, Chris, what you just described, he has to do.
Yeah.
He has to. You don't have a choice.
Which means he's got to get stronger. He's got to practice hard. I mean,
Vrabel said it. He's going to get big. He's going to get bigger. He's going to get stronger. He's 22 years old. Vrabel knows he's not big enough and strong enough yet. Vrabel knows it.
Look, he's going to put the work in. He's going to put the work in.
This kid will put the work in. He definitely
Because he's never going to want to look like that again. 14 pressures, a record. Yeah. He's never going to want that egg on his face again. Drake May's never going to want to feel the way he felt again. Yeah. At 22 and 23 years old, to have the benefit, the opportunity to fail at that age. So now you have your whole career, your entire career to come back from it. That's a gift. That's a freaking gift to be able to do that. Where you're not facing that at year 8, year 10.
Yeah.
You know, where you finally get your ass shot at the Super Bowl in year 8 or 10, and now you give up 14 pressures, and now what? You're gonna come back from that. Well, I'd rather come back when I'm 22 years old, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm not in the camp anymore. You know, you and I, you know, we were on his ass. Move him. We said it a few weeks ago. We'll own it. Hey, move him to guard. This is not a tackle. This is a guard. I'm pumping the brakes on that right now. I am. I'm pumping the brakes on that.
I'll
right
give him
now.
I'm going to give him a year or two, see how he develops, see if what you can do to get his technique better.
What else is there?
Yeah, there are no. Listen, if there was a free agent left tackle veteran, go get him. There's none this year, Chris.
No,
there
really right tackle, but there's
right tackles. There's no left tackle. So do I think you're going to bring in somebody else just in case? Yes. Whether that's a free agent, whether that's a fourth or maybe whether that's a fifth round, not a first round pick. Whether that's a fifth round, no, Chris. Whether that's a fifth round pick, a guy that has potential of being a left tackle, but has more of the physical traits of a left tackle. I don't have a problem with you doing that this year, and it's just in case. But and then maybe the following year there is a free agent you can bring in if this kid struggles. Okay, but you're right. I'm not ready to pull a plug on him yet. You got to give him a year or two. Yeah.
No, there's a lot of work yet to do. Yeah. And there's a lot of guys reaching out to him right now. A lot of veterans, the Matt Lights of the world, okay, that are reaching out to this kid and saying, "I'll work with you. I'll train with you. We'll get it right. We'll fix it. We'll get it right." Not like that crumb bum Brady who doesn't want to be bothered with the Patriots anymore.
Oh, he's back on Brady.
Anyway,
Brady. Listen,
I will say this: the move I would make, because Wilson was just as bad. Like I said this yesterday, if you had Joe Tooney on this team playing left guard this year, if you had made that move, which you could have easily done,
yep.
I think you see a much, much different result for what went on in this, at least all playoffs long, because Tooney would have stabilized that situation over there on that side. But now you got Wilson sitting over there too. Now that's a guy that I would maybe move to center.
I don't know what the contract is for your center.
For Bradbury?
Bradbury. I don't know what his contract was. Can you get out of it after year 1, or do you got to keep him another year? I don't know. But you're right. I would kick Wilson to center. You are right about that. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. But
Chris, let me ask you this.
That brings us to the wideouts.
I was just going to say that. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
As a professional wide receiver,
as I am, yes,
yeah, in your dreams, how the hell do you not read a hot read?
I know.
In the Super Bowl,
I don't know.
Witherspoon, Chris, blitzed 6, 7 times?
6 times.
Okay, so once Diggs, I don't know what Diggs was reading.
That was the interception. That was the pick 6. I don't know. I have no answer.
He's lined up right in front of him, Chris. You see him coming.
Textbook hot read.
Where did you think he was going? Yeah, textbook. And don't get me wrong, May's going to read it too, but it doesn't matter if May picks it up if there's no receiver that's going to pick it up. And then Douglas on another one. He's right in front of Douglas. Douglas is watching him coming on the blitz, and Douglas runs 20 yards down the field.
Right. Yeah, that was
what
the first
hell
quarter.
are you doing? What are you doing?
I don't know. I listen. I'm you and I screaming at the TV. What's the effing hot reads? I don't understand because Mark, those are plays. If they hit that with Douglas, that would have been an 8-yard, probably an 8-yard gain. The way Seattle closes on the ball, that would have probably been an 8-yard gain. That gets you out of corner blitzes really quick.
Instead, Chris, instead you're like third and 18 instead of maybe, you know what I mean?
So, Mark, we're talking about these wide receivers, okay?
Falsetto.
Yeah.
Falsetto.
That's what they are. That's exactly what they are.
I just can't take it anymore. Okay.
You do realize that they still that Murray. Oh, I can't stand him. I don't want any part of AJ Brown. Why don't you want? And then that
the way he acted the last 2 years.
Yep. And then Maz says, "Oh, he's lost a step." He hasn't lost shit. He ain't lost a step.
Better than anything you have right now. Head and shoulders better than anything you have right now on this team.
Right now.
Put it this way: he's a guy that if you bring that guy in, everyone out there, that changes the way Seattle played you. Completely changes the way Seattle
can blitz 6 times.
No chance. Not once. How many times did Witherspoon blitz against the Rams in the NFC Championship game?
I don't think he did.
And why is that?
Because you got Nakua and Devontae Adams out there.
Right. Because you got shredded to pieces when that happens. Listen, they knew. Every team in this playoff knew. Look, and there were times you saw guys pressed heat up on our receivers. I love them. Good culture guys, good locker room guys, all that stuff. But hey, this isn't friggin', you know what I mean? This isn't kumbaya here. We're here to win. And if you're going to win, if you want to protect this kid May, and you want us not get this kid killed anymore the way you have, I'm sick of. I don't want to hear about offensive line anymore. Yes, we have to hear about it because they were terrible, and you got to make some changes there. You got to make some improvements there. I get it, but if you want to really help your pass pro by dictating to defenses what they can and can't do against you, you better go and get a number one receiver. End of story. That's it. Because Diggs isn't one anymore. I don't care how many catches.
Chris, as the competition went up in corners,
he disappeared.
The last 4 games he disappeared because he doesn't have that burst anymore, Chris.
No,
he doesn't have it.
No, and your number 2 receiver ended up being Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins is a number 4 at bat. That's it.
He's a number
3,
4
maybe.
receiver. Yeah.
So again, Booty. Again, the clock struck 12 on him too. Now I like Booty. I'm not saying you
just strike 12 on him.
I'm not saying you get rid of everybody in the room. I'm saying you add the one. Just add the one. Douglas is done. I'm finished with Douglas. I don't want to still talk about Douglas anymore. Afton Chisholm now should be your slot guy because the way he runs routes is just better.
Yep.
Okay. You need a one. And even AJ Brown. Yeah. Even his advanced age a little bit, whatever. If it takes a 3rd round pick to get him in, get him. Go get him. Because that's going to protect your quarterback. Now, so I think we're on the same page there of what needs to happen. But we're different than everybody else, Mark. We're not. Nobody else is saying this.
Listen, Chris, I'm still picking up the phone and I'm still asking.
Yeah, I want him to.
Jacksonville, what it'll take to get Brian Thomas Jr. But that's just me. You know.
Thing is, at this point, they can now do the analytics of how good we've been without one. Since Brady, they haven't picked up a wide receiver. Since 2007, we picked up a has-been. Now, I'm going to say has-been because he was awesome. Number 2 best wide receiver of all time. But, since then, we haven't gone after a one at all, ever. We've been going after left tackle for about 10 years. How good has that worked us out this far?
Chris, are you sure? Chris, are we sure Moss is number 2?
Don't. He'll come through the screen at you if you start talking about Jerry Rice, right?
Oh yeah.
You know? Don't go there.
Don't even buy that.
But no, he's right. I mean, look, that's the bottom line. And moving over to running back, okay. Obviously, you drafted him. You did it. We don't like it. We wanted Luther Burden instead, but Henderson's here now. Henderson faded.
Yeah, he faded.
Henderson runs the contact. We know the issues. We've talked about it all season long. He runs the contact. His vision isn't good at the point, at any point, really, especially at the
there
point.
Was I count. There was 2 plays on Sunday. My son screaming, "Bounce it!" There was Chris. He ran right into the line. There was a hole for him to bounce to the right, and he didn't.
And Stevenson would have, and I don't understand why he got so much play over Stevenson in this game either.
I don't know. I don't know.
That bothered me. But the running back spot, you got to see what Stevenson is going to give you. Is he, because he's getting a little long in the tooth also. So you may have to improve there a little bit. But that's down the list.
Chris,
tight end, Mark. Because with the time we got, talk about tight end. Listen, this is the position that only Mark has been talking about for the last, I don't know how many years now, since Gronk left.
Since I screamed for them to take Andrews and they didn't take him. So, listen, you got to get younger. You got to get more athletic, Chris. You don't have a goddamn choice. Now, 2 guys are free. Now, you're going to draft a young tight end, I think, this year in the middle of rounds, 3rd, 4th round, 5th. You're going to take somebody, right? But 2 free agents this year to look for. I don't think they'll go after Kyle Pitts because Pitts is going to want too much money. He's not their guy.
How about Likely?
Likely? I don't know if he's a free agent, though, is he? I don't know if he is. Got to look. But the guy that is a free agent, he's 29. He's not the answer long-term, but he'll give you a couple of years that he'll be better than Henry is and better than Hooper for a couple of years to allow you to draft the young one and develop him. Is David Njoku is a free agent from Cleveland. And he'll be an affordable option, Chris. And listen, you still got to draft one. But at least now you got somebody else there that's a bona fide athletic tight end that will help May, and you draft one. But you need tight ends, Chris. You don't have a choice. Both our tight ends look real old against these defenses.
Well, that's the thing. The thing that people say, well, what's the difference between Henry and Njoku? Henry was 11th in tight ends this year. The difference is Njoku could be more physical than Henry can be with defenders, especially when you're starting now to deal with these box safeties, these guys that can be physical with you. The Umanoris and these guys of the world.
That was part of our problem on Sunday too, Chris.
Right. So, offensively, look, I think you got the right fit with McDaniels. I think McMay is going to be fine. But these are the spots, and it's not a ton. But you watch how much your offensive line improves by getting a young physical tight end and a number 1 wideout.
Listen,
just doing that, your offensive line will get
Seattle
better.
Isn't in that game without JSN. They're not
No.
there. They don't even make it.
Not. No.
So and the other thing, Chris, is and I forget his name. It's slipping my mind right now. But next year, they had the undrafted, and this is how crazy I am. We had the undrafted running back along with Chisholm. But the undrafted running back, I think, was better than Chisholm. He's a clone of Danny Burkhead with a clone of Rex Burkhead with more speed. You're going to have a running back that can catch 50, 60 balls out of the backfield next year. I'm telling you, that's what that kid's going to do for you, Chris. I'm telling you right now. So he'll be an addition without even having to draft one or getting a free agent. He'll be an addition to your running back room.
Well, there you go. So that's our thought on the offense, but this portion of Pat's preview was presented by Corso Law Group, CorsoLawGroup.com. We come back, going to continue in preview, talk a little bit of defense, and then we'll get the coach's corner and so much more.
Jefferson, go get Jefferson.
Get him. Give it all up.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
They got run on. They had edge problems. They had problems inside the linebackers. Like Spillane was late to recognize some runs, and they were getting blocked up. I mean, going into this game, I thought the matchup between the Seahawks interior offensive line, Gray Zabel,
Bradford,
center,
the right guard, was a liability.
Bradford, the right guard, and Jalen Sundell, the center. I thought with Milton Williams and Christian Barmore and Corey Durden and these guys and Tonga inside. I thought the Patriots were going to dominate the game in there, and the exact opposite happened. I mean, Milton Williams got the sack, and he had I had him for 2 more pressures. He had a batted pass on like the first play of the game, first drive of the game. But he also missed a couple tackles. So Milton Williams wasn't Milton Williams. Christian Barmore played well against the run. I had him for no quarterback pressures. Just across the board. I mean, Chason had 2 hurries, two quarterback pressures. Jennings had 1. I thought there were a lot of like that defensive line in the first 3 playoff games. I think I graded them a 5 out of 5, and I don't give out 5s very often. They were awesome, dominating, dictated everything. In this game, it was the exact opposite.
So that was Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal talking about this defense. And, at first glance, you look at it and you say, Jesus, well, it was 12-0 going into the fourth quarter, wasn't it? I think. And
yeah.
Or it just became 19. And through 3 quarters, it was 12 points. God, how can you ask for?
It was 12 through 3.
Yeah, how can you ask for anything more from the defense, right? Okay, I'll give you some of that. I'll hey, look, Seattle's a quality. Donald didn't look great in this game. They took JSN, was shut down in this game. I thought the secondary played better than the front. Okay, in this game, especially Gonzalez. Gonzalez made himself a lot of money in this game. Because even though that was a throw, Mark broke that play down perfectly yesterday. That throw to JSN right before the half where Gonzalez breaks it up and it was kind of thrown behind him a little bit. But Gonzalez, the recovery he made on that was unbelievable. So he was good. He was great. You got to pay that man. That's it. I mean, end of story. We can't go back in time. Would we go back and take JSN over Gonzalez? Yes, absolutely. But we can't do that. So we got the number 1 corner, probably top 3, I would say right now in football. Would you?
Yeah.
So pay him.
Would I take a top 3 wide receiver over him? Yes, but we don't draft those.
But we don't have that. I'll take a top 3 receiver right now.
We don't draft.
I'll trade my whole draft for Jefferson. I'll do it. I don't care.
They don't draft those guys.
But anyway, okay. So we saw the issues. We illustrated it yesterday. That one run that Walker had down to the right side, down the sideline, where we saw Tonga get kind of pinched inside when he shouldn't have. We saw Gibbons not be able to peek and shed off the block and pick the side. You heard Bedard talking about Spillane a little bit. Okay, so start with the front. Crosby's been talked about.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know if they'll give up what it's going to take to bring somebody like that in, Chris. Listen, they're not going to. I'm going to tell you right now.
It's going to take your first. It's going to take your first pick it's going to take your number 1 pick to get him.
I don't think they want to give up. Yep. And I don't think they're going to give up multiple draft picks for anybody. And I think Crosby would cost you multiple draft picks. Because I'm going to be honest, I think Vrabel realizes this team needs a lot of help, Chris. He knows what they had this year. He knows what they did to get where they got. He gets it. This team is lacking not only talent, Chris, they're lacking depth. We were the healthiest team in football this year, Chris. Because
that's a great point.
If you had any injuries, you were dead because you had no depth either. You had nobody behind these guys.
So to me,
they're not going to give up multiple draft picks, Chris. They're not going to.
If Crosby costs you the 31st pick,
I would do that, but I think it'll cost you more than that.
Putting that guy on this team.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Yeah.
You now have the best, and I'm going to say it. I know what we just saw in Seattle. I get it. That's the best defensive front in football. You put Crosby, Milton Williams, and Barmore together. That's who's better? I mean, Houston still has Hunter and Anderson.
Houston.
They're right there with them.
Yeah.
They're right. That solves your edge. That solves a lot of your problems.
Sure it does.
Plus he's a maniac. He fits
the
culture.
Nuts. He's nuts.
And he wants to play for Vrabel. So that's something I think you do. But the problem is, and we're not going to go back and talk.
Do you give up a 2nd or 3rd round pick for A.J. Brown?
I give up a 3rd without a problem. But the problem now becomes, Mark, this. So you've given up your 31st pick for Crosby. You've now given up your 3rd round pick for A.J. Brown.
Well, I don't think they'll do both, Chris. They'll just do one. They'll do one move. They won't do both. They won't give up all that draft capital.
Which
They'll
one would
of
you
the
do?
two.
You got to stay consistent.
AJ Brown.
I mean, listen.
You know me. I'll give my left arm for a goddamn wide receiver. I don't want the defensive end. Joe, he's a bullshitter, Joe. When it comes down to it, he'll take defense over the wide receiver. He'll take defense, Joe.
I'm really
Let
not.
me ask you this, Mark. I agree with you 100% with the
falsetto.
Joe.
Let me ask you this, though. What prevents them from doing that? Why is it? Is it?
What prevents them from what? Getting a wide receiver?
The magic C word. AJ Brown doesn't seem like he fits that, and I personally think that's got to be the reason they shy away from those guys.
Well, then your culture isn't worth much. Well, then it's not worth much. Then it's not worth the money to print the paper it's printed on, so to speak. Right? Because if you can't withstand, if you can't bring a guy, this is why guys like Murray piss him off. Okay? Because he's saying, I don't want anything to do with that guy. Look at the way he's behaved the last two. Well, then what kind of culture do you have then here? If your culture's so damn good, you can't shape a guy like that up, then what the hell do you have? Then you have nothing. You should be able. That's not the reason I wouldn't do the deal. The only reason why I wouldn't do, the only thing I would worry about is anything to do with the knee, the degenerative, the age. That's it. That's the only thing. If you told me, Mark, if you said to me, if that guy was 2 years younger, if that guy was Brian Thomas Jr., in a second over Crosby, I'm done. I don't need to hear anymore. I want the wideout. So the only question I have about A.J. Brown is to do with age and health. That's it. Otherwise, I want that guy on this team. We need that guy on this team. I don't care the culture. Yeah, I don't want to hear about that. If your culture, Vrabel should have built a good enough culture to be able to handle A.J. Brown. Am I wrong?
I don't want to hear about any. I don't want to hear about any defensive player.
Well, we're talking about defense. We're in the defensive segments right now.
I understand that, but I don't want to hear about any defensive player over a wideout. I don't care unless it's Myles Garrett. I don't want to hear about any defensive player over a wide receiver.
But at the end of the day, we are talking about defense, so we have to. So yes, you got to upgrade. You got to upgrade your pass rush. You got to get better.
No, you do. You
whatever it takes to do that, you got to get better. So if that means spending the 31st pick on that, then that's what you do. But you got to get better there. And then now you got some guys like Tonga. Tonga's a free agent. Chaseon's a free agent.
I don't think it'll cost you a lot of money if you want to bring Tonga back, Chris.
But Mark, you got to look at those guys and look the way they're seeing it. This is their only payday.
Well,
the Chaseon and Tonga this is it.
Chaseon, I think you're going to lose Chaseon because I think based on his playoff performance, someone's going to overpay for him. You're going to have to let him go, Chris. I just don't think he's worth that kind of money that he may command on the open market, Chris.
What do we care? It's not our money.
No, I know, Chris, but there was large chunks of games this year where he was irrelevant.
Yeah. Talk to me about, because, Gibbons is a restricted free agent.
Let him go.
Yeah. Listen, there's nobody in that linebacking core that
No.
We need to get faster.
Oh.
We need to get stronger at that position.
Chris, Walker, on a couple of those runs, he bounces them to the outside. He ended up with 20, 25-yard runs. If you had any type of linebacker that could go sideline to sideline with speed, one of the guys you've wanted to draft over the last 5 years, he's probably got a 5-yard gain, not a 25-yard gain.
Well, and you've seen that all year long. I mean, you've seen that all. You've seen bubble screens. You've seen those edge plays where Philly linebackers are running those things down. For a 2-yard gain. And for us, it's an 8-yard gain.
Yeah.
Because our linebackers, Tavai, Gibbons, Spillane, they're just too damn slow, to get out there. And so you need to get better there. Safety.
What about safety, Chris? I was going to ask you about. Jalen Hawkins is a free agent. He's going to look for some cash.
Now, he played well this year.
He did.
But I'm going into the draft. And I want to find I want to find that guy. I want to find that Umanori kind of guy.
Okay.
I want a guy that can come down in the box that can cover. I want to be able to play cover 6. I want to be able to play 3 over 3. I want to be able to play split high safeties and still be able to stop the run in a nickel package. I want to do that. I want everything.
Well, this is a 4-year-old. This is a copycat league. So that teams are all going to try to do that moving forward.
Of course they are.
Copycat league.
Well, if you know what you're looking at in the draft, they're out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you're drafting them with the second pick in the draft. I'm saying you go in the 3rd round, 4th round, you'll find those guys. You can find them. They're there.
Yeah.
You just got to know what the hell you're looking at. So the scouting department, that's another place that's got to, let's see what tweaks happen in this offseason with Elliott Wolf and company.
Mm-hmm.
But to me on defense, those are the places you got to get. I got an edge guy. You got to get better at the inside linebacker because, Mark, if you can go get a safety like that, you're not playing 3 linebackers anymore. You're playing 2.
Playing 2.
You're always playing 2 linebackers. So we'll keep Spillane, fine. But you got to get another guy. You got to get a dude, that when Greenlaw was Greenlaw kind of guy.
Yes. When Greenlaw was Greenlaw, you're right.
So we'll see what happens. But I think the defense played well in the playoffs. I think they there's a lot of upside to what's happening over there. I think our back end's good. Marcus Jones, to me, was one of the MVPs of this team. Yep. And I think he's only going to get better too. So,
and they extended him, which was smart.
Right. So we'll see what happens with this defense in the offseason. But Pat's preview was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England Field, Saturdays, noon Eastern next Saturday. Make sure you're tuning in to more Patriots offseason talk, B's and C's, Catone's comments. Mark's going to have an MLB preview for us. So make sure you're sticking around for that. But when we come back, going to go into the coach's room one last time this season. Coach's Corner is next.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more
Corso and Catone.
Saturdays at noon.
Back in with more Pats Nation. All right, guys, last segment of the season. So let's make it a good one. We're going to go Coach's Corner right now.
Coach's Corner.
How hard it is to win a championship. You know what I mean? How hard it is to finish, the season, to be at your best in the biggest and brightest moments. But you have to start over. This whole thing starts over in 10 weeks. The off-season program starts in 10 weeks. That's how I look at this. And when I said that to them, they kind of looked at me like I was crazy. But that's the reality of it. We have a group of guys that played a lot of football. We have a lot of guys that didn't play a lot of football. And as I was taught, we talk about the business of the NFL. The business is we're looking for the better, younger, cheaper player every day. And the players that we have are trying to not let that happen. And that's the dynamic, and that's the business of the National Football League.
Better, younger, cheaper. Ooh. That's not getting enough of a wow this week, is it?
No.
When do you hear a coach say that?
Yeah.
Well, we know one that says it.
Yeah.
Where did he learn that?
Of course.
He's not part of his tree, but where did he learn that? That's a Belichick thing.
Of course it is. And Chris, the only way you do that is something Belichick, the latter stages of his career, couldn't do, is you do that by drafting well.
Yes.
And we didn't do that for the last 6 or 7 years of Belichick's regime, and that's why we ended up where we were.
My guess is the looks he was getting back from these guys was one of shock.
Yeah.
Not because
he built culture, because he was building culture all year.
Because this is a guy who just pulled the rug out from under them in that one moment and said to them, "Yeah, I love you guys. You're my family. We got to get better, younger, and cheaper."
Well, I don't think he said cheaper to them. Probably said younger and better. He probably said better. And whatever
once he said it to the world, he said it to
He
them.
said it to, yeah, he did. He said it to them. You're right. You're right.
So whether he told them that in the room
No,
or he
you're
told
right.
them that,
You're right, Chris.
and I'm sure there's guys sitting on the edge of their seats, some veteran guys too.
Of
The Hunter
course.
Henrys, the Diggs,
Yes.
of the world that are sitting there saying, Devy, that are sitting there going,
I don't want to see Tavai in this locker
no,
room.
I don't
next
either.
year.
You know, but these are the guys that are sitting there going, he's talking to me.
Yeah, absolutely, he's talking to you. Yeah,
Do you think that's cold?
no? It's a
Do
business.
you think
He
that
said
flies
it.
in the
Chris,
face
he
of the
said it.
culture?
Yeah, it does a little bit. It does. But listen, these guys know it's a business, Chris, at the end of the day. They're not stupid. He built the culture, and he'll have to build a new culture next year because you'll have a different team.
Right.
You know, and like you said, Chris, part of that whole culture building, you said this yesterday, was because you didn't have the talent on this team. You had to get buy-in, and that's how he got it. And that made up for the lack of talent that this team had.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, since this is Coach's Corner. Let me ask you a question. I didn't ask you yesterday. I want to ask you before we're finished for the season. I have to ask this. So the whole beginning of the season, we talked about the fact that McDaniels is not Vrabel's guy. Blah blah blah. We went through this, you and I. You know, some of the comments he would make and the things he would say at the beginning of the first 8-9 weeks of the season, right? Vrabel about about Josh. Or not about Josh, but bring up other guys, right?
Yeah, Ashton.
Okay.
And
Okay, so there's no doubt that Josh McDaniels is great. Did an incredible job with Drake May. He was the offensive assistant of the year, the NFL honors, blah, blah, blah. McDaniels at his core is a quarterback's coach. In 2007, O'Brien was the OC. He was quarterback's coach, built a great relationship with Brady, but he's a quarterback's coach, and that showed you he's a quarterback's coach by what he did with May this year. Now, as an OC, did we see the limitations and the flaws of his offense on display in that Super Bowl? And is that why Vrabel perhaps wanted to take somebody from that McVay, Shanahan tree and not Josh, because you saw why on Sunday?
no. The short answer is absolutely not. This was a product of what's the saying? The Joes and the I don't know. This is not about the scheme. This is about the players. This is about talent.
Okay.
We've seen this offense win at the highest level on the planet. We've seen this offense put up records.
With number 12.
We've seen the system work.
But any team that could rush 4 guys and get pressure beat you.
That's
So
true.
what does that say about the system? And that's basically what Seattle did Sunday. A lot
that
of
is-
times, Chris, they were just bringing 4.
That is true. No, I don't see a problem with the system. I see a problem
Okay.
with the talent.
Okay.
For now.
Because nobody has asked that question.
If this continues forward and we get our number one and we get a younger tight end and shore up that all line and you're still getting there with 4 and you can't move the ball, okay, now maybe you could start looking at the system. But right now, this is about the talent level on the team.
Okay, because nobody asked that question this week.
No, that's what this is about. I think Josh McDaniels is the perfect. I think he's the best. I don't know if he's the best OC in football. I don't think that, but I think that he's one of the top guys, and he probably will go down in history as one of the top guys.
Okay.
When all is said and done. So no, I don't have a problem with the system at all. I have a problem with the talent.
Were they outcoached Sunday?
They were outcoached because of what was on the field. I think McDaniels had answers that he couldn't get to. That's what I believe. And I'm not giving him a pass because he's a coach and I like McDaniels. I'm just telling you what I think. They were answers to that test that he didn't have the horses to put out there. Yeah. That's to me what went on in that game, and that's what went on, at various points in the season. So we'll see. So I mean, coaching wise, I love this out of Vrabel. And you know why I think that the players will embrace what he said about the better, younger, cheaper, all stuff? Because he's honest with them. He tells them what it is. And that's at the end of the day what players want. They want to hear the truth. They don't want to be bullshitted. They don't want guys doing things backdoor to them. And Vrabel's not that guy. And so I think a lot of guys you're going to see this offseason, you're going to see a lot of players like Crosby's the first guy. You're going to see a lot more guys that want to come and play in New England. Mark, before we go, let me just kind of give this quick preview, just so we all have an idea for what's coming, okay? Forget the home schedule. This is our road schedule next year, okay? Obviously, Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Bears, Lions, Chiefs, Chargers, Seahawks, Jaguars. That's our road schedule. We didn't go west of the Mississippi this year. New Orleans is not.
Every one of those teams was a playoff team, obviously, except Kansas City. But Kansas City, obviously, if they're healthy with Mahomes, they're a playoff team, right?
Okay, that's your road schedule next year.
Yeah, you got a problem.
So you better get better. You better get a lot better. So our final thoughts of the season, Mark. I want to hear from both of you guys. What are your final thoughts of the season as we shut the mics off for a bit?
I mean, I'm freaking encouraged. I'm ready to go. I'm excited. I for the future. It was a great season. I think I think a Super Bowl is in our reach within a couple sooner than people think. I think we're gonna win number 7, and I'm excited for what the future holds. I really, Chris, want to see what Drake May becomes, because I think the kid's just scratching the surface. I really do. I think if you get this kid a number 1, not an edge rusher, a number 1, I think that this kid's just scratching the surface of what he can become, Chris. No one's ever going to be Tom Brady. I'm not saying that. But this kid, Chris, can definitely, he's an MVP candidate. He's an MVP quarterback. He will lead this team to a Super Bowl. I firmly believe he will take this team to a Super Bowl. And win it.
Well, I'm wearing shades because our future looks so bright.
Come on the screen. Let's see you for the last time. Can you come on? Can you get on the screen? No.
Of course I can. Oh, we got to do a 3-way. Hang on. There it is. I locked them out. But I do agree, and I agree with Mark wholeheartedly. And I do think we have a bright future under Drake May, under everybody collectively. And I would definitely wide out, edge rusher. And I think we could solidify and move forward with that, and then put in the rest of those pieces you were talking about, Chris, on defense, on offense. But we definitely need what he talked about of the wide receiver, and it looks good. I like what we look like. You know what? I started falling off myself, like, whatever, football, whatever. It's getting lazy. The whole league really is getting soft. But then seeing Drake May come in the first game, that preview game, the preseason game I went to, and Henderson ran it back for a touchdown.
Yep.
There was something different in the air, and you could see the spark, and you go, okay, Patriots are back, but we need. Brady had been doing this for forever, needing number 1 wide receiver. Now we're Drake May, and we're still asking the same question. And that's the one thing that will move us forward if we're just laid down and allow it to happen. But I like that. I like the way it looks, and I'm excited myself to see.
Very good. So the Pats Nation was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England Feel. Saturdays, noon Eastern. Next week, make sure you're tuning in, because we're going to have more Patriots talk in the offseason stuff, and Celtics, Bruins. Mock going to give us that MLB preview as training camp opens up. And again, this is our last show of the season, but stay tuned to some special Pats Nation shows. We're going to have our free agency show. We're going to have our draft show, and then we'll kick off our new season when training camp opens. So make sure you're tuning in to Corso and Catone on Saturdays for all the updates and our YouTube channel. And before I thank you all, I want to thank my guys right here. Joe, Mark, Joe, phenomenal job all season long. As always, you did a fantastic job, as you always do. He's a one-man wrecking crew over there in that booth. So keep up that good work. And Mark, of course, my brother, my partner, and can't thank him enough for the great, wonderful season. He makes it worth. You make it worth everything it is. So I appreciate that. And we want to thank you out there, everyone, for all your support and tuning in and watching us and putting up with us all season long and listening to the ups and the downs. And we took the ride with you as Patriots fans all season long, and we're going to take it again next season. So for Mark and Joe, we are the Pats Nation. Thanks for tuning in.